Welcome, Linjani Mashabezu. One of the richest men in Africa, industrialist Mahendra Rava, stated the following: Africa is the most praying continent in the world, yet is the poorest. When you look across Africa, the thriving business, commercialization by the men of God of their gospel, and many millions and billions of Africans follow them in prayer, in fasting, in studying the Bible, and listening to sermons. Yet, with all the prayers, why is Africa still poor? There is a shocking proliferation of the ideology of prayer to the young kids, where we find a lot of African young minds being taught to pray, wearing prayer shawls, cramming and memorizing the Quran, while these Chinese toddlers are taught electronics. Why is Africa praying if God knows everything? Islam and Christianity wasting our time by teaching us to achieve nothing. This is not an atheist video. It is something that is worse. Atheism merely argues that God does not exist, same as agnosticism and many others. What follows in this video argues something structurally worse. Even if the infinite field you call and believe to be God, Allah, Yahweh, Creator, or so forth, utterly is real, prayer is practiced today by virtually all Africans and many other human beings who have ever lived, who will come again on the earth, is categorically useless. Not partially ineffective, not misguided, useless, but prayer is useless, as precisely as we have seen what has happened with our continent and with our lives. As a human being, we are a bio machine. This is what has not been understood. Strip away all the theology and what remains is brutal. A temporary carbon chassis, a meat machine running survival software. It hungers, it has emotions, it fears, it becomes sick, it becomes confused, it decays. It is morally neutral and profoundly finite. A rapist can produce a body, a baby. A murderer can have a family. Evil couple can create a family in the so-called holy temple without a single moment of guilt consciousness. If the divine existed and was automatically passed to this body, it implies that evil would possess the highest spiritual frequency by default. But that is not the case. There are three fatal assumptions hidden in every prayer that have destroyed our understanding of what to pray and who to pray. The first one is pre-existing hardware. The idea that this body, this ego, this me, and conditioned mind and brain,
always read this
fasting and denying myself food,
what if it is the price
is
of
already
something else
structurally
entirely?
capable of receiving a divine signal. That's wrong. Number two, passive receptivity. To position ourselves and yourself as a vessel into which the divine pours itself. You ask and the infinite will bend to finite requests. This is a vending machine model. It's wrong. Inherent sanction to think that the human body is wholly and equally wired by network and the networks to all that which you call infinite. This democratizes the infinite in a way the infinite does not permit. So this idea of pre-existing hardware, passive receptivity, inherent sanctions are all assumptions that never survive if we bring them into contact with the structural reality of what consciousness actually is, what the body actually is, or what the infinite field would actually require of any local receiver who operates within these three paradigms. Our ancient ancestors 5,000 years ago engineered facts around consciousness and about consciousness that modern religion and spirituality and everything else has not come to know and now has forgotten. It is the car, the bar, the ninefold soul. That is an ancient Afro-Kamic sages principles that they put forward. They are mechanics. They are not divine. They are engineering systems. If we had to use modern terminology today. For example, the car. The car is the biological autopilot that inherits or that is started within a woman's womb, and then it runs the machine that it produces, which is your body, on default, executing survival code that has been written in the bloodline via the DNAs we know now of your totems, how you should behave. The bar is the conscious operator. Is not there when the car is forming the body. Remember, otherwise, if the bar is there when the car is forming the body, it will incorporate inherent evil of that murderer, of that rapist, of that couple that is evil. So the bar is not there because it will become part of the localized consciousness that will be capable of stepping outside the car or controlling the car if it wakes up, but naturally it just watches what the car is doing or what the body is doing. Then it is a Maat program as well as a Isfet program. The car has the potential of Maat and the potential of Isfet. Either position will be taken if the bar is awake. The body is not waiting to connect to the infinite field. It is already transducing it. And by what dominates the first neurons that are fired, and the failure of that car of the ninefold soul is because the error comes from operator who is running the machine. What the bar is doing of the two things. So scientists have discovered that in their research of free will. Neuroscientist Benjamin Libet, 1983, confirmed the operational gap, the karmic sages had already mapped out by identifying that the car arrives first and runs the body, but the bar will come on that car after birth and it does not take control automatically. That's why you need parental tutelage. My next book, Not for the Governed, will demonstrate this. So the car fires first. You cannot stop it from firing. But the bar, if it has developed, made conscious, awakened, can then exercise its veto power and stop what the body executes within that window. That gap is where sovereignty dwells. Not the afterlife, not enlightenment, not epiphany, not inspiration, not in a scheduled fast or a performed prayer. The collapse mechanism follows the neural impulse that fires first the car autopilot, the 200 millisecond gap that opens the veto window, and the bar, whether it comes to veto that or permit the action. And then the physical action is executed. The voltage problem comes in play now, because essentially and necessarily prayer cannot solve the infrastructure gap that we have described now. The divine field is not a warm presence adjusted to your tolerance. It is an overwhelming, unfiltered, structurally obliterating voltage. It does not reduce itself to meet you where you are. You must build the infrastructure to meet it. You build that infrastructure with the bar, so it becomes an aku, a potential loss, potential mzim, potential righteous ancestor. A dense car dominated by a machine cannot receive infinite signal without structural catastrophe. The result is either complete destruction, going crazy, or nothing at all. Prayer does not do this, cannot help you in this. Reading sacred text does not do this. Fasting on schedule does not. Going to the Hajj, going to Rome, going to the holy sites will never solve this. Going to your church will never solve this. The only resolution is a progressive, active, structural expansion of the bar. The localized point of awareness must widen its bandwidth. It must build, not receive as a gift, but build a vessel sufficient enough structurally with a lot of integrity to withstand the severity of infiniteness. This is a problem because we want to use language to achieve this. Prayer runs on language. Language is a compression algorithm built not by the bar, but for the car mind. By the car. Every word maps to concepts generated by this three-dimensional entropic biomachine. The car. The moment you try to describe the dissolution into infinite potential, you must borrow words. The map is not the territory. The word fire does not burn you. The word infinity does not expand you. And yet every religious institution, spiritual institution on earth has built its structure on the claim that it can teach you the untransmittable for a tithe, for your loyalty, for your identity. The very act of institutionalizing the infinite in this way is the act of destroying access to it. So this is spiritual theater. When the ego co-opts the infinity, when the car program cannot suppress the organism's pull towards infinity, it does something far more sophisticated than suppressing. It co-opts it, deceives it, recalibrates the protocol, design an operating system that is totally invisible to you, totally silent, but identifies you with the car. When you hear the mosque loudspeaker at 4 a.m. and you obey it, you have been controlled. It is a territorial claim over geographic space. By space, we mean the collective car in that area, not a signal from beyond. The televised mega ministry, the attendance of holidays, so forth, is business running on spiritual desperation, harvesting the unmet needs of millions. The car has already been paid. The car is already co-opted and taken over. The shocking truth is that even in the New Testament, this is demonstrated when Jesus, whom we know never existed, but they incorporated ideas from the car and the bar because they were close to Hamid, says in Matthew 6:5, when you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues. How many of us have seen people praying in churches? In the name of the Father, public crusades, praying, standing around the corners of the streets, and they are seen by men. And Jesus is saying, this is evil. That's the car in operation. That's the ego now being driven by the car. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, ritual performed with pride and display is ragistic, driven by the ego. Such ceremonies do not purify consciousness, they tighten the knot of the car to physical illusion. There is only one path left. What remains is the rarest and most demanding operation available to a localized point of consciousness, the progressive and supported system that is developed by the bar. It requires nothing eternal. It requires nothing external. No audience, no language, no institution, no schedule, no name. The consciousness that expands its bar does not pray, does not fast, does not read any holy book. Prayer is a request sent from a car-dominated finite mind to an imagined authority outside itself. A consciousness that has expanded its bar to the point of contacting the infinity does not spend sending requests. That's why our ancestors taught us that we are the bar too. We are the thing that connects to the infinity. The word the bar, soul, the word into you. That's clear, straightforward. So prayer is useless not because the infinite field does not exist, but because prayer is the wrong instrument for accessing it. It is the car performing surgery on itself with the same hands that built the wound. So the holy books say they know the infinity, but they don't know how to access it. They think prayer is the method. It's not. Now, there is a book that we want to recommend. The book that changes everything. This is just the beginning. The book No More Masters dismantles everything you were taught about prayer, about consciousness, and the path to the divine, about the Holy Spirit, about righteousness. It builds from first principles. No dogma, no institutions, no performance, just the brutal, beautiful truth about what you actually are and what it actually takes to build that infrastructure that goes beyond stop praying, start building. The universe does not answer prayers, it answers whichever operator is running the collapse mechanism in the next 200 milliseconds. Will you buy this book? Will you own this book or not? The car will tell you what to do, and the bar will just watch. When you die, we bury the car, we bury you, we put food, we put symbols on the grave to feed the car. I'm your manager to People's Rabbi LM Mjaganja saying, get this book, No More Masters, own a copy, read a copy, be ready to receive the other one. That's coming around September, November, October there. Thank you. Have a great day.